And I'm teaching atomic and molecular physics. This is 14th lecture where we are going to study about the Pauli's exclusion principle. So in hydrogen atom, we have already studied hydrogen atom and we have derived Schrodinger's equation for hydrogen atom, and we know that there is only one electron in hydrogen atom, and the ground state, it is in n equals to 1 energy level. But this is the simplest case of hydrogen atom. But if we take the example of atoms containing 2, 3 or more electrons, can they all be in n equals to 1 state circling the nucleus? See, in case of hydrogen, there is only one electron. So n is equals to 1 is the energy level where that electron revolves around the nucleus. But if we have more number of electrons, then whether all the electrons will be revolving only in energy level n equals to 1, is that happening? Calculations show that radius of the orbit is inversely proportional to z, where z is atomic number and the binding energy is directly proportional to square of the atomic number. So if all the electrons are put in the lowest level, the atom will become smaller with increasing z, because they are inversely proportional. Radius and atomic number, they are inversely proportional. So if all the electrons are put in the lowest level, naturally the atom will become smaller with increasing value of z. And because of increased binding energy with z, because binding energy is it is proportional to square of the atomic number. So as the binding energy is increasing with z, the difficulty of extracting one electron from the atom will go on increasing. So both these are contrary to our observations. What are the two observations? एक तो क्या है कि radius जो है वो inversely proportional है atomic number को, but and second is binding energy जो है वो directly proportional है square of the atomic number. So naturally for higher elements with higher atomic number, there should be difficulty in extracting electron from the outer shell, but this is contradictory to what we observe. So what are our observations? We find that it is easier to remove an electron from silver atom than from helium atom. So ये एक observation है. Otherwise we know that binding energy, it is proportional to square of z. So ideally for silver atom, I should require more energy to remove an electron, but it is not happening. It is easier to remove an electron from silver atom as compared to helium atom. Also, if all the electrons are placed in only one level, why do the chemical properties of certain elements whose atomic number differ just by one differ so much? Like take the example of fluorine. Uska atomic number hai 9, but it is halogen. Neon, its atomic number is 10, but it is inert. Take the example of sodium. Its atomic number is 11, but still it is alkali. So why the chemical properties are differing so much? And on the other hand, it is found that some elements having very different atomic numbers, but they have similar chemical properties. Take the example of sodium, potassium, Rb. They show similar chemical properties. So why our observations are not fitting into that criteria? So to solve all these contradictions and mysteries, Wolfgang Pauli in 1925, when he was just 25 years old, he put forward the Pauli's exclusion principle. So what exactly Pauli's exclusion principle is? Now whenever we define electron, we have already studied principal quantum number, or it is also called as total quantum number. Then we have orbital quantum number, we have orbital magnetic quantum number and spin magnetic quantum number. So if we want to state the if we want to define state of the electron, we need these four quantum numbers: n, l, ml and ms. Now according to Pauli's exclusion principle, it states that no two electrons in an atom can have all these four quantum numbers same. At least one ऑफ द क्वांटम नंबर शुड बी डिफरेंट। यानी मैंने अगर 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स लिए तो दोनों इलेक्ट्रॉन का चारों क्वांटम नंबर सेम नहीं हो सकता। मे बी कि n दोनों का सेम है, l दोनों का सेम है, ml दोनों का सेम है, बट ms डिफरेंट रहेगा। So no two electrons can they have all these 4 quantum numbers same. That is what Pauli's exclusion principle is. Now we have two kinds of particles like fermions and bosons. So what are fermions? So once the Pauli's exclusion principle was established, later on he put forward theory which applies to any system of electrons, atoms, molecules, solids. Not only that, the principle also applies to all particles having half integral spin. So now when I say that particles with half integral spin, I mean to say fermions, because fermions are the particles which have half integral spin, and this half integral spin, they are governed by Fermi-Dirac statistics, and as they obey or they are governed by Fermi-Dirac statistics, the name is given to them as fermions. And examples of fermions are electrons, protons, neutrons, positrons, neutrinos, and so on. Then we have another system of particles or another set of particles which have zero or integral spins, and these particles are called as bosons, as they follow or they are governed by Bose-Einstein statistics. So the name boson is given to them, and these particles, they do not obey Pauli's exclusion principle. Example, photons, phonons, alpha particles, and so on. So you should remember the clear distinction between fermion and boson. Fermions are half integral spin particles which are governed by Fermi-Dirac statistics. Bosons are zero or integral spin particles which are governed by Bose-Einstein statistics. Fermions, they obey Pauli's exclusion principle. Bosons, they do not obey Pauli's exclusion principle. Examples of fermions are electrons, protons, neutrons, positrons, neutrinos, and examples of bosons are photons, phonons, and alpha particles. So this basic differentiation between fermions and bosons you all should know. So we have seen today just only about Pauli's exclusion principle. In the next lecture, we will see how we can use this Pauli's exclusion principle to show that electrons, they follow the antisymmetric property. What is symmetric and antisymmetric nature of wave function, and how electrons, they obey antisymmetric wave function. Okay, thank you so much.